all of these trials are looking at similar populations. So they're looking at relapsed refractory aggressive lymphoma patients who have failed at least 2 prior regimens. And the results are remarkably consistent across the 3 different products. 2 have been FDA approved, the Axicabtagene, ciloleucel, and Tisagenlecleucel. And longer-term follow-up of those trials were presented at this meeting. The JULIET trial was just published in the New England Journal of Medicine, and there was 2-year data presented on the Axicabtagene ZUMA-1 trial. And both of them show a very satisfying plateau on the progression-free survival curve in that 40% range, 30 to 50% range, and with relatively few events happening after a year. So that leads us to hope that these patients are indeed actually cured, those patients that have a complete remission. So some of the key take-homes from this, I think, were that, number one, it's very important that you have ultimately a complete remission, and patients whose best response was only a partial remission tended to have very short survival. So in that 40% that have long-term remissions, this appears to be a very, very effective treatment. And you have to remember, this is in a population where the expected survival would have been less than 6 months. So both of the trials showed very, very encouraging data. The third trial, the TRANSCEND trial, uses a different product. It's Lisocabtagene maraleucel, and it's actually a product that's formulated from CD4 and CD8 cells, then combined in an exact ratio, 1-to-1 ratio. And the main difference that we're seeing so far is that it appears to be a safer product. It's based on a different construct. It has a 4-1BB co-stimulatory domain. And what that seems to allow is a more gradual onset of cytokine release syndrome. And we've been able to treat most of those patients, or many of those patients, at least at our center, as outpatients. And then with admitting people to the hospital if they develop signs or symptoms of cytokine release syndrome. The response rates, again, are very, very encouraging. The CR rates look in line with the other 2 products, and we need longer follow-up to be, obviously, to be sure. But the difference, in that product, seems to be that there's a lower rate of grade 3 cytokine release syndrome. All products still have about a 20 to 30% incidence of neurologic toxicity, which is a real problem for the field. And fortunately, most patients do recover from this, but it is really one of the major issues. So I think coming down the road, we will see the differentiation of products based on their toxicity profile. Some will be able to be used initially in the outpatient setting, and that will lead to less potentially resource utilization. And we'll just have to see then how they all compare once we have several-year data.